Hello Visioneers and welcome to Small Business Celebration. We're continuing our series on small business owners that not only survived the last recession, but are learning from it and growing during this recession. And this week's guest, well, not only are they growing, they're opening a brand new building. So let's go see what they've got going on inside. This is Small Business Celebration. Join us as we learn from successful business owners and successful business leaders about who they are, from where their business has grown, what they have learned, and where their successful business is going. I'm your host, Michael I. Roberts, and we're going to learn something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business. We're here with Raji Brar, the COO of Countryside Markets and Restaurants. Welcome to Small Business Celebration.
Thank you, Michael. Happy to be here.
And for Visioneers who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself and what is it that you do?
Okay, well, I am the Chief Operating Officer of Countryside Market and Restaurants. It's a family-owned business started, in 1990 by my father and my stepmother. And we have Shell gas stations, we have Taco Bells, we have Pizza Huts, we have Subways, we have a construction company, a real estate development company, and we've been doing business here in Kern and Tulare counties for, almost 30 years. And I handle all the operations for the businesses, for all the franchises, and that's what I do.
And in this current time of the recession, COVID recession, it's one thing to take a step back and shirk and put your head in the sand. But before we get into what you guys are doing now, how did your business look back in 2007?
In 2007, at that moment, my father had 2 gas stations and one standalone Subway in Arvin, which I ran. And that's all we had at that time. And we had about 10, 20, maybe 30 employees. And that was in 2007. And today we have over 450 employees. So that's how our business looked in 2007.
And then 2008 happened.
Yes, 2008 happened, and we were still looking the same. But I base this on my children's births to know where I was in life. And by 2008, the recession did happen, but, our family, my father has always been he's always planned ahead. And I think a lot of business owners, we do plan ahead. And that means we save for that rainy day. And the only reason we were able to grow our businesses was always to make sure we had enough savings, putting things aside, living within our means. And we built another station in 2009. We bought property and we built another station in Lost Hills. So yes.
Right in the middle of this recession of 2008, 2009, you guys weren't taking a step back. You were moving full steam ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
And how did that impact your business or shape the way the thinking is for the business?
Well, when I go back to how we started the businesses and my dad's view on life and money, we were always raised and the belief of, never live above your means, always save. We were always taught whatever money is coming in, a certain percentage should be put aside. And my father, I think it goes back to, he used to work at the post office and he used to sell real estate. And whatever his real estate earnings were, he did not touch. And what he worked at the post office helped pay for us kids and our insurance. But then that real estate earnings, whatever his savings were, is how he bought his first station with a partner. And, but he didn't quit any other jobs. He continued on. So that is how we were raised to understand it's important to save and to save. I know that's not the answer everybody wants to hear. It's not rocket science. It really is that basic that you have to make sure that your bottom line makes sense. You're profitable, your food costs, your labor, you have to always keep that in consideration. And we always did. So we were constantly saving our monies. And when the opportunity presented itself, we would buy property, we would invest. And there was a recession But we bought property and we built and we kept moving. And that has not changed. That is how we've always operated. And we still continue to operate like that to this day.
And that is why you have been able to not only withstand this current recession, but actually expand and grow. You've got a brand new property and brand new facility that's opening up off of Comanche, don't you?
Yes, we do. It's our first shopping center. It's called Countryside Village. We have a beautiful gas station that's open. We have a Taco Bell that went in. Our retail leasable space, the Starbucks, is going to be opening next month. So we're still growing. Again, there's going to be some changes coming up due to COVID this year, and thinking about some of the tenants we would have had. Thankfully, I think it hit just in time where we didn't, unfortunately, have tenants such as hair salon or a dry cleaner. Well, dry cleaners would have been okay, but hair salons and lifestyle services that we're actually right now, as you're aware, not able to operate. But that is the goal, is to get those lifestyle services there and get those tenants in the center. But you have to keep growing. And even right now, I know this is a trying time for folks. It's trying for us. But I believe successful business owners always are prepared for that rainy day. It's just in the back of our mind, like and boy, was this a learning lesson this year. We didn't have to say, my dad, he just looked at us like, I get it. I get your point. This is what you were always talking about. But I think that also comes from his background. He comes from India, and it's a different world in India. And you cannot depend on your government, and you cannot depend on others to take care of you. So he has that mindset, survival. And so when he comes here, he has that same attitude, and he tries to pass it on to us American kids, who think, oh, it's fine, it's America, we're okay, Dad, you worry too much. And then COVID hits. I'm like, oh. Okay. 44 years later, but
sure.
Nevertheless, it's a learning experience.
And part of the things from that learning experience we're going to touch on the next segment here. But if Visionary Nation wants to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
At this point, they can send me an email to my Countryside. It's raji@countrysidecorp.com.
Sounds good. And we'll be right back. Do you think you have a business that can't be sold in the age of COVID-19? How about the Noriega Hotel? Sold. How about Brits Diesel and Automotive? Sold. How about Two Fat Sandwich franchise on Stockdale Highway? Sold. Turn your hard-earned business into gold by calling Sunbelt Business Brokers and Advisors at 661-323-2358 or visit them at their website at www.sunbeltnetwork.com/Bakersfield-CA. And don't let your business go to waste. Call Sunbelt Business Brokers and Advisors at 661-323-2358 today. We're here with Raji Brar, the COO of Countryside Markets and Restaurants, and we were just talking about lessons learned from the past recession and how you're applying them to this recession. But this is also giving you guys an opportunity to take a moment and do some things with your business for the face of it, for the general public, that you haven't been able to do in the past. What are some of the things that you're doing right now, Raji?
Well, right now, I think we're taking this, I don't know if you want to call it a pause, but we're taking the time to actually get more organized on social media, get our website organized. We're having pictures taken of all of our locations, of the food we serve, just to be more organized with our Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, website. So we have a one-stop shop for folks who want to apply to work at our locations and folks who want to order off our menu. And especially with curbside pickup and all of this occurring right now, we definitely realized how important it is to have that available for our customers. So we are currently working on that right now. And, we've been doing this a long time, but my dad always he jokes and he goes, you guys are mom and pop. I remember he told my brother and me that. And we were just so offended when he said that to us. And he's like, you guys need to get with it. And we looked at each other like, did Dad just say that to us? But he said it we took it with a grain of salt. We take pride in being mom and pop. We never want to lose that. But we definitely want to be more accessible to our customers. As the world is changing. It's all digital, it's on your phone, and we want to be able to change with them. So that's what we're doing right now.
But all this has been able to happen because you, the kids, have been able to be heavily involved in the mom and pop business, as it were. But you've also been able to grow the business from the original 1 or 2 gas station holdings to something significantly larger and growing even further. And this is a pattern of growth that a lot of small business owners have a hard time internalizing. How do you go through and put systems in place and processes in place to be able to grow from that first gas station to that second gas station and go from 3 or 4 employees to 8, 10, 20 and more? What is the methodology that you guys use to make that happen?
Well, I think for us, it was a lot of things that came together at once. For my father, as I mentioned, when I was in high school, he worked at the post office. He sold real estate on the weekends, and my stepmother ran our little gas station in Oildale. Right. So obviously there wasn't a lot of growth happening, but in a way there was, because he was keeping the seeds, right? He was saving the money for that one day. And then us children, I went to college, my brother went to college when we were of age and had enough life experience to say, oh yes, we'd love to work with you, Dad. That big check I thought I would get for my college degree didn't look so big after all. So that was important. We had to have that life experience and work somewhere else to really appreciate the opportunity to be your own business owner. And I think that is what happened. I came back. I started my Subway from the ground up. My dad, I remember, came the first day, and he was like, okay, this is how you're going to count your money. This is what you're going to do. All right, bye. And I was like, bye?
Have a nice day.
Sink or swim. And that's how my dad's always raised us. And I was like, okay, this is it. I have to learn everything and anything. And it was such a great learning experience. And once you've done something like that, you never forget it. And I did that. And my brother came in, same concept. And then as we got older, we saw what each of us was really good at. I was good with people. I understood that I could not grow if I did not have good managers, assistant managers in place to do what I could do. We realized.
And how did you discern what a good manager was, or what kind of process did you put in place to be able to reliably be able to discern who the right people to employ were? Well,
I love to interview people. I love it. To this day, it's my favorite thing to do. I love to interview folks. And I don't do the normal textbook interview questions that most people do. I like to get to, of course, all legal questions. I know all the stuff you can't ask people. You put that out there. But I like to really know who people are and what they do. I like to find out if they're leaders in their own home. And those questions might be simple as, well, do you help your parents clean the house? That sounds silly, but that is such a valuable question. And you'll be surprised what people tell you. If you get the person who says, well, yeah, I help my mom every weekend, I help clean, I help do this, I've been doing this, versus somebody who's like, oh, I don't know, I've never. And for me, that says a lot about a person and kind of what kind of leader they're going to be. And even though I don't know, I've never done anything, doesn't mean I'm not going to hire you. And I might not hire you in an assistant manager position, but I know I can work with you because you haven't really learned anything yet. And I'm going to help you learn. So I think just for me to sit in with those people and build my team is so important. I kind of know where I want those individuals. And sometimes people that are green are absolutely perfect because they are ready to learn. But for me, when I sit in and people who are true leaders, when you start communicating with them, they're going to start talking. And you're going to start learning their personalities.
And how do you go through and systematize being able to duplicate yourself into your managers, into your assistant managers, into your employees? How do you record systems and evolve those systems so that you can not be in one location all the time or having them call you all the time? They can be self-reliant and be able to run the business without you being there.
Definitely. So it was a process. So my first manager, let's say, I started with, for me to train her to do the same thing somewhere else, I would have her sit in with me on interviews. I'd have her sit in to see what I did. And then I'd tell her, now you go do that, the next person. And then with the next person. So we did that to the point where for each brand, we now have a district manager. And each location has their own managers. And so on and so forth. And that's how we've done it, is constantly teaching what this person has learned for the next manager. And for us, I will say that we've had the advantage of being a franchise, because in franchise systems, they do have systems in place. Subway has their own way, Taco Bell has their own way. And what we did is we took their ways, tweaked it to customize it to fit the way we operate. And so we have the paper, let's say, right? We have the documents we can check off and say A, B, and C you should do, but we add our own touch to it and how we relate with our folks we hire, which I think is so key and different. And I believe every organization has their own culture, their own flavor. And for us, we emphasize that with our managers. And they're the lifeblood. You know, if there's ever an issue at your organization, like if there's something happening, your employees are quitting left and right, you don't have to look far. It's your manager, always. And that's where we spend a lot of time, is training our managers. And then that's how we duplicate it. And that's how I'm able to keep moving on and not having to be at each location, because there's no way I would make them all in one day.
Can you believe our 100th episode is right around the corner? Neither can I. But who would you like to see as our guest here on Small Business Celebration's 100th episode? Well, if you've got a thought, leave their name in the comment section below, and your guest of your choice could be here on Small Business Celebration for our 100th episode. So leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and who knows, your guest could be our guest here on Small Business Celebration's 100th episode. We're here with Raji Brar, the COO of Countryside Markets and Restaurants. And you have been born and bred here in Bakersfield, have you not?
I was born in Fresno, but okay. I moved to Kern County when I was 11, so Central Valley kid. Yes.
Very good. And graduated from CSUB, and now you are on the foundation of CSUB.
Yes.
And
straightforward.
And one of the great things about being involved with a very successful business, a family-owned business, is that you're able to give back to the community, and you're able to be involved with community. And you are the founder of the Bakersfield Sikh Women's Association. And,
yeah, I'm the co-founder, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And tell us, first of all, why did you start the organization?
Okay, well, I'm first generation Indian American.
Okay.
My parents are from Punjab, India. And our families that came in those days, you know, they worked really, really hard. You know, the American success story. They started in the fields. They did farm work. And they put us all through school and worked really hard for us. But my friends and I, you know, this generation, we kind of were like, well, what are we going to do? Our parents did this. What are we doing? Are we just self-serving? Are we going to give back to our community? And that's where the idea grew from, that it was time to do something. We were at that age where we need to do more than just worry about ourselves. And that's where the foundation arose. And, you know, I always say this, we didn't know what we were doing. Like, well, you know, what did the foundation do? Let's do something good. You know, we want to do something good. And we're like, we'll do scholarships. And that was our main focus, because that seemed easy enough. And I remember the first year we kind of sold discount coupons to Tahoe Joe's to raise money. I think we raised about $5,000. And you know, we gave a scholarship at Ridgeview High School, because there's a huge Sikh population in the Southwest.
Sure. And
we knew a lot of those families were coming from India, pretty new. We have a very patriarchal culture, the Sikh culture, and us young women or older women, we want to do kind of break some stereotypes, change some barriers that young girls might face. And we felt that we're all very good representatives to do that, maybe communicate with these families to give their daughters a better chance, because, you know, our world works better when everyone's involved. And so that was kind of the reason for this. And then that, you know, our association, I mean, it's grown, and we've given out over $143,000 in scholarships. And now not just to Sikh girls, but to, you know, little white kids and black kids and brown kids and boys and girls, because the Sikh faith believes everyone's equal. So we're like, well, we should be doing equal. And then I think it's really important to go out there and can take care of your entire community. And that's what we do. We started a few cancer screenings. We partnered with Adventist Health, Kaiser. We've done breast cancer screenings, ovarian cancer screenings, stuff that in our culture, women don't really like to go to the doctor, taboo issues. We had unfortunate issues in our community with a few murders and family violence and things of that nature. We started a crisis line, which is a resource line in bilingual in Punjabi. We partnered with this DA, Cindy Zimmer, and the Family Justice Center to get folks some assistance. And so it does things of that nature. It's just grown and evolved. And we're so blessed because Kern County, everybody here wants to help. And I just love that about this county. Everybody steps in and helps out. And so the association has grown accordingly with them.
And speaking of overcoming, as it were, and some of the challenges that you have faced, you are a very eloquent writer. And you put a quote up on your Facebook page that I thought was wonderful, that I'd like you to expand upon, which is, growing up, I was told to stay out of the sun or I would go too dark. Yesterday, I sat at St. Peter's Church while the sun was setting, beamed in through the windows, and hit my face. I did not turn away. Mm-hmm. Why did you post that?
Well, I was invited to speak at the Unity Rally at St. Peter's Church. This summer, we've had, it's been a very different summer. There's a lot of social justice issues that came up with the murder of George Floyd and talking about racism and anti-Blackness. And I was asked to speak, and my first thought was, well, what can I say? I'm not African American. That was my first thought. Right. But then I started delving deeper and realizing that racism and anti-Blackness is not just a black and white issue, not by any means. It crosses all cultures, it crosses all races, even mine. And that was a truth that I think was important for us to speak in our community, because it's time for everyone to take a look at themselves. And in our community, we have colorism. The lighter you are, the more beautiful you're considered. The darker you are, the less valuable you are. My parents are from India. We have a caste system. It's horribly racist. It's horrendous. Based on what you do for a living, you're considered a lower caste. You cannot intermarry. And I think it's hilarious because they're all Indian. I mean, there's no other. It's mind-boggling what human beings do to themselves. Right. And so for me, I'm looking at this black and white issue going on kind of from here going, you guys know it's not just you two, right? It's everybody who does this. And so I felt it was important to start being very honest in our community and addressing it, and not just pointing at white people or black people and saying, like I say this, my dad taught me, when you're pointing your finger at someone, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. Right. And that's the way I felt I could contribute at St. Peter's Church, was to be able to discuss what's happening in my culture. And it is true. We are there's definitely anti-Blackness in our community. They're 100%.
You are very adept in speaking. Like I said, you're very eloquent, and also politically as well. And you are on the Central Valley Regional Water Quality Control Board. You also were formerly on the Kern County Fair Board. And both of those positions are appointed by the governor of California. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, you're also very well acquainted with our local Republican congressman, our Republican state senator, and our Republican assemblyman.
Definitely. Yeah.
A lot of business owners either shirk away from politics because they don't want to alienate their customers, or they choose to use politics as a bully pulpit, which does, in effect, in some ways, alienate other customers. How do you navigate these waters by being able to truly be bipartisan?
Well, I think exactly what you said. I think these people right now, we are so either right or left. It's so divisive. I've never seen it like this, ever. But for me, I am a business owner. I want to talk to the folks who are regulating me. That's really important to me. Right. How are you going to be a successful business owner if you have no say in folks regulating your bottom line? So absolutely, I'm involved. And what I am not, to me, I'm concerned about what happens here in the county, what happens in my state towards my business. And I'm going to reach out to my elected leaders, Republican and Democrat, and I'm gonna they want to represent me, so they're gonna hear from me. And
whether they want to or not.
Whether they want to or not. And it's not an adversarial relationship by any means. I respect what they do. And I say that because I was a city council member once in the city of Irvine. And I realized the commitment it takes to be an elected official. I feel for them because I've been there. And I think a lot of folks don't understand the commitment that electeds have. It is a 24/7 job. and it's thankless.
Right.
But I appreciate what they're doing, because deep down, mostly everyone who I've met who's been elected, they really want to do something better for the community. I have not met one person who does not believe that. Now, do their views align with everybody else's? No, they cannot. You cannot move forward if you do not have opposing views at some point. That's how the friction stuffs and you go forward.
Right.
So I appreciate that. And I have wonderful relationships with our Republican leaders and Democratic leaders. I think we all should. How could you not? I think it's so critical. You learn from other folks. If somebody has a different view than me, I want to hear that, because maybe there's something I'm going to pick up on that's going to help me. And that's how I approach life. And I think that's very important to be successful in anything. I don't want to be the person who shuts somebody off because their views are different than me. Oh, no. Could you imagine children not listening to their parents ever?
Well, that's the case with some of them.
Right? So what would this world look like? So that is what I do. And I do not push my views on my customers or anything but that nature. But to me, I'm a business owner. I want to have my voice heard. If there's something Caltrans is doing that I don't agree with, I'm going to say it. And again, being a part of somebody, when I do serve on the water board, I'm a business owner. So when I have a farmer come up to the water board, or oil group come up to the water board, I understand their concerns. I understand their bottom line. At the same token, I understand being a regulator and what that means too. So I think it's so important for business owners to be involved, because we have a different view that most folks don't understand. And actually, when you look at a city or a government, it is business. We're talking about finances and making sure that we aren't in the hole, or we're not, in the red. So it's important. How can you not understand those concepts and be in an elected position? I learned that in Arvin. I learned it. I was very surprised at some of the folks that were elected, and their lack of education in different arenas that would make a city or a county or a state successful. And it kind of frightened me, to be quite honest. It was a rude awakening, and for that reason, I wanted to make sure I still stayed involved. I definitely could not be an elected official, because that is a way whole other ball game. I love what I get to do. And so that's why I've always stayed involved as much as I can.
What is something that you have learned from your involvement in politics that shapes the way you do business today?
Oh, wow. I've learned so much. I've realized how important it is before we start a new project. Let's say I understand how important it is to get in front of the city or the county with your plans or ideas to find out if there's going to be any roadblocks coming up, or is this even feasible? Just that basic information that most folks might not think about when they buy a piece of dirt. Do they know what restrictions might be coming up? I've learned a lot of things. I sell gas. I sell gas. You don't think I pay attention to the laws passed by the Air Board regarding, electric vehicles and trucks and regulations. There's so many things I learned. And that right there, for us going forward, do you really think I'm going to be building gas stations in 20 years? No. Right. But that is important to really understand, versus somebody who goes, that's never going to happen. I think the largest person in the stock market making money right now is Elon Musk and Tesla. Right. That's something that I need to pay attention to. Sure. And when our governor is passing regulation and the Air Board passes regulation that all big commercial trucks in 20 years have to be electric. Right. I'm paying attention. Sure. So for our next investment, that matters. And which way are we going to go? I don't want to be Blockbuster, right?
They have one store left in Oregon.
So, there's so many things that I've learned. And I've also learned the whole process, how policy works, and how just so many things that have just been invaluable.
What is one thing that Vision Your Nation could do today to grow a strong and profitable business?
Okay, I think this is really key. I think this is really important. And I've said this before. I think any small business, any big business, you really have to know, what is your vision? What is your vision statement? What is your mission statement? I don't really care what you want to call it, but you have to have that one for your business. If you don't know where you are going, you are not going to be successful. For us, our family's mission, vision, whatever you want to call it, is that we are here to be in service. We are here to be in service to our customers, to our employees, and to our community. So those 3 core values, whenever we take on a new business, whenever a new venture, we look at those and see if that is going to fulfill our intention of growth. So I encourage all the vision listening, please, you need to sit down and decide what is your mission or your vision statement for your business. It's key.
Raji, it's been a pleasure having you here on Small Business Celebration, and we really look forward to you joining us again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been wonderful.
Do you think you have a business that can't be sold in the age of COVID-19? How about the Noriega Hotel? Sold. How about Brits Diesel and Automotive? Sold. How about Two Fat Sandwich franchise on Stockdale Highway? Sold. Turn your hard-earned business into gold by calling Sunbelt Business Brokers and Advisors at 661-323-2358 or visit them at their website at www.sunbeltnetwork.com/Bakersfield-CA, and don't let your business go to waste. Call Sunbelt Business Brokers and Advisors at 661-323-2358 today. Who is a visioneer? A visioneer is a business leader who is a pioneer that has vision. A visioneer is someone willing to see the world not as it is, but as it could be, and is willing to do something about it. A visioneer is ethical, smarter, faster, and leaner than the mainstream competition. A visioneer gives value first because visioneers are in the business for the long haul. Visioneers understand the difference between saving money and earning a profit. Visioneers define their destiny. Visioneers create their own luck. Visioneers surround themselves with successful, like-minded people. Visioneers are renegades who defy the mainstream competition and are ready to change the world. Are you a visioneer? Join the Visioneer Tribe with Small Business Celebration on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram today. Hello, Visioneers. Usually the most interesting conversations that I have with Visioneer guests happen after the recorder and the camera are turned off. Except in this instance with Raji, where the camera was accidentally left on. And Raji gave us permission so that you could get some bonus material and get an inside glimpse into that conversation so that you can gain even more information to grow a strong and profitable business. Did you enjoy this?
Yeah, I did. It was fast. I mean, it didn't seem long. It was fast. And I mean, it's almost been an hour.
Yep.
I wouldn't have thought that. That was good.
Well, good.
And I like with that fact that you're giving folks the reality. Like, I know in school, you can get your business degree and you can do all that, but real world experience folks don't learn that.
Right.
As a small business owner, there's so many things they don't understand. Like, do I use paychecks or do I do QuickBooks? And that's so important
right.
to understand. Are you going to pay your taxes? Your employer training tax. What does that mean? And that is a whole different education.
It is.
That does not get taught in school.
You're right.
And it should.
It should.
It definitely should for a small business owner, because you learn that on your own from the ground up.
Yep.
Sometimes the letter from the state franchise tax board saying you didn't do this right.
Well,
and
that is one of the, I used to joke about it a lot when I started this program, is our demographic are the people who have been in business for usually 3 or 4 years, and they've got a handful of employees, but they've started to get those very curious letters from the California Tax Franchise Board that they don't really understand. And that's our target demographic. So
yeah, it's quite the learning experience for folks. But I definitely think a lot of people who tell me, they call me, like, can you, and I give them advice, and they want to start a new business. Right. And think they're going to be rich overnight. And I have to tell them, like, oh, wow. And now it's even getting harder, like even with the franchise.
Right.
You're basically buying yourself a job. Right. Depending on the majority of the franchise you're getting. But the goal is to grow. Right. If you make that next one, then you're getting in a better situation. But a lot of those folks, they just hire people. Right. And they don't put themselves on schedule.
Right. And they don't do like you were talking about earlier, is take the time to train the people to be there.
Well, no, they themselves need to get in there. And they can't be that owner who sits in the back on the computer making a schedule. And no, like if you're owning a little fast food joint, you better be on the register and you better be helping sweep. A lot of my employees that I had when I first started Subway, my original manager, she was 16 at that time. I mean, she wasn't a manager then, but now she's my district manager for all the Taco Bells. Same girl, has a degree from Cal State in math. I mean, she stayed with us and she went through school, but obviously we took care of her in a different, she's great at what she does. But they would watch me do everything. We've cleaned everything. So there's a different level of respect. There's a little bit of snobbery when it comes to fast food chains and owners, and I've seen it. Where they don't want to do the cleaning. Well, and it's a very humbling experience because you respect your team members. If I got on the Taco Bell line, I would mess it up. But I know that, so I respect my team members. And I don't think what they do is like not important. Oh, it's very important. Actually, right now, when we are struggling with COVID and people calling off and whole shifts, it's a nightmare. Right now, it's a nightmare. And we are trying to get through this. And I feel like a public health nurse more than I do anything right now. But you know, it's a learning experience. And every week we learn something new and keep going. But anyways, thank you so much. It was fun.
Did you enjoy our conversation with Raji and the bonus material? Well, subscribe to the Small Business Celebration program here on YouTube by hitting the subscribe button and the little bell next to it so you can get notifications, as well as subscribe on Apple Podcasts and on Stitcher so that you can continue to learn something new and important so you can grow a strong and profitable business.